I'd like to preface this video by telling you that I'm sticking with PC gaming and will not be purchasing an Xbox One. That being said, I still found the E3 conference quite interesting, and I'd like to share some of my opinions on the announcements that were made today. Right, first up, we saw the new Xbox 360. It's the third iteration of the console. Honestly, I think this is a pretty terrible idea, and let me explain that. With the PS3, you had the fat model, then you had the slim model, and now you have the super slim model. And with that, it was basically just trying to cut down on prices, like, you know, you weren't able to play PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 games on the super slim or the slim because they had to cut down on prices. That seems to be what they're doing with the new 360, which frankly, it's a bit too late to be releasing a new one 8 years after the original, but let's not get into that. Just the Xbox on its own, exactly the same specs, basically the same as the slim, just looks a bit different, a bit more like the Wii U. I will not be purchasing that either, not really interested in it. Let's move on to the games. Right, one of the last games we actually saw, I think there was one after it, but the most important to my channel obviously, Battlefield 4. So when they started talking about it, the sound wasn't working, it kind of built it up even more for about, I don't know, 30-45 seconds. But then, they showed us the game, and to be honest, it's looking pretty good so far. They only showed us a bit of the Naval Warfare single player, I think it was. Like, there were the red triangles on the minimap showing enemies, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's multiplayer. I'm fairly sure it was single player, because they had like an objective telling you where to go and everything. But it's looking pretty good. The Naval Warfare with all the water effects, and there was the ship snapping in half. The graphics are pretty incredible, looked quite a bit better than the trailer we saw previously. And also, something most people might not have noticed is in the top right of the video, there's a little Battlelog logo, and it had a backspace icon on it. So I'm guessing this either means Battlelog will still be in the web browser, which, to be honest, I don't really care about anymore. I didn't like it at first, but it's alright now. Or, alternatively, which would be much cooler I think, is if Battlelog will be built into the game almost like a Steam overlay. So then you'll be able to join games, talk to your friends just by pressing the backspace key, which isn't really used in Battlefield at all. Not to my knowledge anyway, so that'd be awesome. Also with Battlefield 4 we got to see a bit more on the voice acting, which from the trailer we know is already pretty good. Like, we heard pretty much the same people, just your squad talking. And we also got to see the improved HUD, which is looking pretty good so far. You've got the grey icons in the bottom right, the bottom left, and the Battlelog logo in the top right. They're seeming quite a bit less intrusive than they were in Battlefield 3, which is a nice little feature. And when you reload, you might have seen the icon enlarged to show that you're reloading, which is kind of a useful visual cue, I guess. But I'm not that bothered about that. In the single player, we also saw a few new guns. The only one I noticed straight away was the, I think it's U-110 or U-1100, and that's a light machine gun. And that had a pretty cool sight on it. It was like a holographic sight, pretty powerful gun, somewhere around 50 bullets in the mag. But that's a sign of things to come, I'm hoping. So the campaign guns should all be in the multiplayer. Then hopefully upon the DLC release they'll add some more guns. And then unfortunately, like I said before, I don't think that there was any multiplayer footage in there, which is really frustrating because that's what we were all looking forward to. But hopefully we're going to get to see some multiplayer footage later on in the week, not really sure about that. And then they showed another motion in the game, which a lot of people probably missed also. It's where they jump off the edge of the aircraft carrier, they jump over, then he lands and does a combat roll. So I'm assuming this is going to be integrated into multiplayer, maybe to reduce fall damage or something. But it's a pretty cool animation on its own, and it kind of means you can't just jump off stuff and then run away from everyone like people do on maps like Noshar Canals when they're trying to flee from snipers, which is pretty annoying when you're camping. Makes it hard to kill people when they're camping. And then that's pretty much everything we heard about Battlefield 4. There wasn't that much, a bit less than I was hoping for, but it's looking good so far, so let's move on to the next game. So we got to see Deb Rising 3, which apparently he said right at the end of the conference it's probably going to be an exclusive. I'm not really sure if he meant that or not. Not certain. But Deb Rising 3 is looking a lot more realistic than Deb Rising 2. If you've ever played that game, it's kind of crazy, wacky. You're kind of riding tricycles around, you've got beach balls, skateboards. Not really realistic, but a lot of fun, and it looks like they're taking it in a new direction. Almost like a 3D Walking Dead horror game, or a bit like DayZ, I suppose, or Warzy. It's more about surviving than it is just having fun, which I kind of have mixed feelings on. I liked how Deb Rising 2 worked, but still looking good. And then another game they showed, which is called Rice, Son of Rome. I found this game interesting because I'm not sure they've done many 3D games in like the Roman era, where there's attacking and fighting going on, stuff like that. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, but also it seemed a bit linear with all the action button cutscenes like you had in Ninja Gaiden, just annoying stuff like that we don't really want as gamers. We're not casual, we're not looking to press stupid action buttons all the time, but the game looked good, looked decent, bit linear, pretty cool though. They showed us Forza 5, which I honestly don't really care for. I found the simulation aspects more interesting, like the science behind it, how they've modelled it off real cars like the Mercedes they had on stage. Nice car, I like the car. They showed us the new Metal Gear Solid, which was looking pretty cool actually. I haven't really played Metal Gear Solid that much before though. Played it a bit on the PlayStation, but really like the game so far. Looking forward to it on Xbox One. I probably won't be playing it myself though, unless it's released on PC. But I'm sure some of my friends will be getting the Xbox One, so should be able to play it. Looks good. They showed another game called Killer Instinct. Kind of borrowed that title name from, I think it was a Super Nintendo game, maybe a Nintendo game, long time ago. But that game, to me, it kind of seemed like it's trying to sneak into the Tekken, like Mortal Kombat Soul Calibur series. Just trying to get in there, into the fighting games. It didn't really look that original to me, wasn't that interested. So, yeah, that game, don't really care about it. Then they showed Witcher 3. This is in no particular order again, guys, so... yeah, Witcher 3. I played a bit of Witcher 2 on PC, mainly just to test my computer. It's kind of used as a benchmark because it's so difficult to run. But not that interested in the game. Witcher 3 has incredible graphics though, it looks a lot better than Witcher 2. That was probably the best graphics on the games that we saw that night, but pretty good. And then Sunset Overdrive. This was a really weird game, guys. It was kind of like Mirror's Edge mixed with, I don't know, a cartoon art style or something. And it kind of reminded me of a drinks advert. It had all the action packed in, and then he was like zip-lining around the city, running across walls, doing parkour. Pretty cool, kind of seems a bit arcadey for me, not that interested, but thought I'd let you know about it. And then they showed us World of Tanks, which I can't remember if they were announcing it as an Xbox 360 game or as an Xbox One game, but frankly I'm not really that bothered either way, because you can get it on PC currently, it's been there for quite a while. It's a bit of a gimmicky FPS, you get to drive around in your tank, shoot other tanks, it's a load of fun. But releasing it on console, to which, to be honest, I don't really care about. I can already play it on PC, but it's cool for the Xbox guys. Now they get a stab at a pretty fun game, so look forward to it, guys. So, thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, please click like. If you disagree with my opinions or agree with them, put it in the comments and subscribe.